Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to Scatter Love Tarot with your girl, coming at you with another pick a card reading. As promised, this is part 2 to me understanding your horror story. Today we are going to ask on advice on overcoming your horror story. So this is about healing and getting through those hardships and getting that advice from source and your angels, your guides, your ancestors to really understand what's going on. There are two beautiful monarch butterflies that are dancing with each other outside. I absolutely love it. They're with each other right now. That's so amazing, so synchronistic to the transformation that we can bring into our lives when we allow it to come. First, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this channel. I'm so honored to be sharing this time and this space with you, and thank you so much. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience, and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And if you keep in mind, these are general readings, so take what resonates and leave what does not. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel below. If you are interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links below in the description box. You can email me for a personal reading, and I'll get you more information. You can follow me on over to my podcast at Scatter Love Radio on Spotify. And I also now have a link below for you to join memberships there for easy access. And when you click on that, it'll take you to the page that does show you all of the options available to you for membership. So I do hope to see you there. If not, thank you for your continued support here. So that being said, I don't really have any news today. So let's hop to it and get into the prayer, and we'll get this reading underway. Get a little bit more lit than that. All right, there we go. There. My beloved source, this prayer is for any and all who come onto this reading, onto this channel, whether it's for a moment's time or for the entire time. I ask that you bless them with the knowledge of how capable they truly are of letting go of their own past and creating a life that they have always dreamed of. Remembering that holding on to the past, resentment, blame, guilt, shame, hurt, all of these things will keep us anchored in our space and keeping us from manifesting what we wish to manifest in our lives. So I ask that you help us let go in the best way for ourselves, not to force us to let go, not to surprise us in letting go, but to bring us into a space where we can let go and acknowledge that we're letting go with peace and honor in our hearts, and knowing that we did the most amazing thing for ourselves, and knowing that we did it in the best possible way. So I ask that you bring us on this journey, the path of least resistance, to help us reconnect and reintroduce ourselves to our highest self, to connect with our intuition so that we can get the guidance that we're looking for and the guidance that we need in order to let go of the things that terrified us, the things that horrified us, the things that left us scarred, broken, and battered, and bring us into this acknowledgement that we are whole individuals in this moment, and that we have not left a part of ourselves behind, but rather have been blocked by the memory of what was. And that is something that we have control over, and that is something that we can choose to change. Give us this bravery, give us this courage. More importantly, above all, walk us through the fires. Walk us through the fires and help us know that we are not alone. As these words are spoken unto this space and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Ase. Thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let me go ahead and get that out of the way over here. All right, and for today, I did figure that the Talisman Oracle cards would be fitting, so I've already got these shuffled we will go ahead and look. I have this castaway negativity is on the bottom after I shuffled for this, which is so appropriate, right? We're casting away those old memories and we're choosing to make new ones. We're choosing to let ourselves live in this peace and harmony that we want to live moving forward. So source, for pile number 1, what talisman oracle card will help us gain a better understanding of the advice for pile number 1 in overcoming their horror story? What talisman oracle card will help us better understand? Okay, thank you. And for pile number 2, source, what talisman oracle card will help us better understand the advice for pile number 2 to overcome their own horror story? Okay, thank you. All right, for pile number 3, source, what talisman oracle card will better help us understand the advice on how pile number 3 can overcome their horror story? Oh, okay, thank you. That like flipped out, by the way. It went flying. And on the bottom, like, we have change coming out, right? It is time for change. So this is something for those of you that are on this reading. You are ready to hear what's coming through. You are ready to receive these messages. You are ready to bring that change in. Remember, it all starts with us, right? It starts with our decision and us moving forward. It is pretty warm today, so you might hear my AC turning on and off. Okay. Making sure that's in frame. For pile number 1, we do have this beautiful moonstone. This is the peach moonstone that I have for you to choose from. My nail is all messed up. For pile number 2, we do have this beautiful piece of carnelian. Alright, and for pile number 3, we do have this beautiful piece of zebra jasper. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever one you are drawn to, that should be the pile for you. And I will see you over on your perspective piles. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of peach moonstone, or if you were drawn to this card during this shuffle, then this is going to be your reading on advice on overcoming your horror story. Quickly, I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to support the channel and be a part of this ever-growing tribe. I'm honored to be sharing this experience with you. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Keep in mind they are general readings, so take what resonates, leave what does not, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find all those links down below in the description box. You can email me for a personal reading. I'll get you out further information. You may also follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. And I have now linked below a direct page to, or link to my membership page. So if you're interested in joining as a member, when you click on that, it will show you the options that are there available for you. So I do hope to see you on memberships, and if not, thank you for your continued support here. Quickly, I do want to point out that this is a part 2. Okay, this is a part 2 reading. If you didn't catch me understanding your horror story, you'll find that that was the one that was posted a few days ago. From this one, I did them back to back for that reason. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop to it and find out. Source, what is advice that you have for pile number 1 on overcoming their horror story? What can we let them know on how to overcome their horror story? What advice do you have for pile number 1 today, Source? Okay, so we have the 8th house Scorpio energy and Jupiter. Wow. So right off the bat, this is saying going into the darkness, right? Like, this is where you'll find the best luck. This is where you'll find the best answers. This is not this is not easy. What's coming is not easy, okay? It's simple, but it's not easy. And it will serve you the best, okay? Anytime we have Scorpio energy coming through, we have that transformative karmic energy that we have to face. But look, you see here that the outcome is Jupiter energy, which is abundance, spiritual growth, understanding, learning more about yourself, right? But this is about you allowing yourself to explore the hidden emotions that you're facing. So whatever the hardships, and if you resonated with one of the piles from the other reading, we're talking about the hardships that you went through in those examples, that when you dive deep into understanding those hidden emotions and understanding that these emotions keep playing a vital role in your day-to-day life, you'll actually be able to become very powerful. There's a transformative energy here. This is a death and a rebirth where you'll be letting go of the past and embracing this present moment and embracing your inner power. There's a recognition here that while that was awful, what I experienced was awful, and it's not anything that anybody deserves to experience, but we cannot change the past, right? It's over with, it's happened. But now, instead of letting that be the truth of how you show up in either connections, in your day-to-day life, in work, in friendships, whatever it is, even with your family, you can understand that I'm no longer in this connection. I'm no longer in that situation. I'm no longer in that energy, that I am safe, I am sound, and I can truly listen to my heart and heal this. And that's where you're going to have the most growth here, pile number 1. Okay, this is going to bring you a lot of abundance, and it actually may even lead you right to your path of purpose, because whatever it is that you went through in your past, you may actually find that you get fulfillment out of helping other people heal from similar situations, like giving them the strength to empower themselves, giving them the strength to encourage themselves and to make choices for themselves, and to really overcome those hardships that can be such a burden on us, that can be such an anchor on us in our day-to-day lives, right? This is something that's hidden though, right? This is something that's it feels dangerous. Going there feels dangerous, okay? And they want to honor that. They want you to honor that. They want you to know that through your own internal investigation, though, that you can come to an answer. You can come to a solution. And you can really see that there's a lot of wisdom that comes from those hardships that you went through. And you get to begin to uncover the truth of your own self, which is a part of your restructuring process, right? You're going to be restructuring your life, and you're going to come into this place where you're going to finally feel a very deep happiness and a very deep peace. And there's going to be a lot of optimism here, which I do feel like you already contain a lot of optimism in your day-to-day life. But I feel like from this, you're going to be gaining a new sense of optimism in life, where you're not going to feel like you're a failure, or like you're not enough, or like everything is your fault, or carrying the guilt of, or even the resentment and the anger of that past situation. Okay, this is where you will find the most healing at, is really diving deep into it's an awkward pain, right? It's not fun. It's not anything that anybody wants to do. I'm going to fold this up so I can shuffle my cards. It's something that is terrifying because we've been compartmentalizing it for so long, but there's deep healing there. So let's go ahead and ask the tarot source, how can pile number 1, what's the advice on overcoming their horror story, source? What's the advice for pile number 1 on overcoming their horror story? What would you like to say here for pile number 1, source? What's the advice on overcoming their horror story? Learning how to rebuild your emotional well-being from people who have manipulated you, from people who have left you broken on the sidewalk, from people who've left you bruised and battered, from individuals who've left you bruised and battered, or from situations that have. This is where you're going to find the greatest hope. It's odd that we can walk into the darkness to find the light, but sometimes that's exactly what we have to do and what we're being called to do. Okay, thank you, Source. How can pile number one, what is advice that you have for pile number one on overcoming their horror story? Okay, thank you. What's the advice for pile number one on overcoming their horror story, Source? What's the advice for pile number one on overcoming their horror story? Thank you. What's the advice for pile number one on overcoming their horror story, Source? Oh, thank you. All right. Wasn't going to do 4 cards, but I guess we got 4 cards, so we're going to take them. I do have the space, so that's nice. Okay. Maybe that's why. Alright, Source. On the bottom, we have the 6 of coins in the reverse. Yeah. So there's this greed that's coming through with the 6 of coins on the bottom here. People who've been very shallow. People who've only wanted something from you. But look, you have the Wheel of Fortune here, and what's turning it is actually these hardships are turning it in your favor, right? And it's not, okay, I don't want you to think like, oh my gosh, so I'm just going to be experiencing hardships my whole life, and that's the only way I'm ever going to get anything done. That's not what they're saying here. They're saying that your luck, your success, your healing, your fulfillment, your well-being, your clarity all come from going back and seeing these situations from a place that you're in now. Like, you've obviously grown. You have healed quite a bit. But again, when we're looking at the horror story, we're looking at very deep wounds, the trauma that really kind of set the tone for us growing up, right? Like the things that we don't want to go back to. It's like, well, I healed from everything else. Why do I got to heal from that, right? But they're saying that when you go back and you look at these very superficial relationships, people who were very addicted to money, greedy about your energy, your time, your resources, what you had, what you were able to give to them, and that could be admiration, accolades, that could be just praising them, giving them your love, your energy, your time, your space, whatever it is that you were doing in these situations with these people. They were very, very superficial, and they only saw one thing, and that was, what can I get from pile number one? But this is going back and understanding that at the time, especially if this comes from when you were young, it feels like this is young adult energy here, okay? As a young adult, seeing that when you go back, that maybe you didn't have any control in the situation because you were still dependent and you didn't know how to make the choices that you needed to get out of that, or there were no options. You know, if you're like a little kid, how are you going to get out of an situation like that with a parent? Like, it's kind of impossible. But recognizing that it was something that happened in order to help seal your fate, so that you could become successful, so that you could become happy. And we have the 9 of Cups peeking behind here, the Wheel of Fortune. There's another card here, but what was peeking was the 9 of Cups. This is where you find your fulfillment. That's exactly what I felt with the dice, and we have it in the cards here. Okay, going back into the situation, recognizing that maybe you yourself have tendencies that reflect this, you know, whether that's, oh, I only talk to people about the weather, or I only am concerned about my money and my physical security in this world instead of my internal security, which creates physical stability, right? And it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm not here saying, like, you shouldn't be like that. No, that's not what this is, right? This is understanding that sometimes our entire lives are dictated by the traumas and the experiences and the horrors, as we said, that we've experienced in our life. 11:11 on the clock, and we have to understand those situations and our role in those situations at that time, where we're truly incapable of saving ourselves, but in doing the best that we could at that time, that we created an egoic experience from that, saying like, I'm never going to trust anybody ever again, or I'm always just going to be very lighthearted with people, or I'm always just going to wear a smile on my face and hope the best. Like we can end up harming ourselves by trying not to recreate those situations from an emotional standpoint, when in reality we end up recreating those situations far more times than we care to admit because of that, right? So we have the Hermit in reverse. Okay, yeah, we have the Popess in the reverse. This is interesting. They're very much pointing out. We have the King of Swords in the reverse. Wow. And we have the Knight of Wands in the reverse. There's a lot of people here. Okay, there's a lot of people. And look at this. Isn't this interesting? You have these two are focusing on these two. These two are focusing on these two. So there's very like a central energy here, which I do feel like is yours. And it's like, well, how do I heal from that? They're asking you to look at the patterns that were played out in your life. Who wasn't willing to heal? Who hasn't been willing to heal? And it's not for you to heal them, right? That's not what this is. This is asking you to look at each individual's actions, looking at past lovers here with the Knight of Wands, and the people who only wanted, sexual connections with you, or who only wanted something that was very, materialistically involved, like physical, something that was only mutually beneficial through money, something that was only mutually beneficial through, an idea or an ideal. How were people smooth talking you into playing a part in their lives, and how were you agreeing with or believing the words that they were saying? Okay, and then you have the Popess here again pointing towards, were there times when you yourself were just settling for the superficial, right, which we see with the Knight of Cups? Were you just settling for the superficial, hoping it was going to work out for the best for you because it just sounded good, right? I keep hearing the song, There Is No Arizona, 'cause there is no Arizona, no painted desert, no Sedona. If there were a Grand Canyon, you could fill it up with the lies he told her, but they don't exist. Those dreams he sold her, she'll wake up and find there is no Arizona, right? Like she'll wake up and find there is no Arizona. It's all lies. It's all deceit. It's all manipulation just to have somebody on standby. That's exactly what that song talks about, right? And it's sad because she believed it and she lived for it. She waited by the mailbox for a postcard. She waited by the phone for a phone call that never came, and she still continued waiting. And that's what they're talking about. One day she'll wake up and realize there is no Arizona. One day. And so the healing is you waking up and realizing that there is no Arizona. Like what they're saying is there was no love there. It was just something that was sexually beneficial. There were no beautiful pictures and sunrises that were, real. It was all just something that was painted to manipulate me into doing this. And it's not to make you more mad. It's to open your eyes up to the red flags that you miss along the way, right? And they have to revolve around this idea of a superficial way of life. And what they're saying is they're really pointing this towards the societal construct. So does it look good? Does it smell good? Does it feel good? Does everybody want it? These types of superficial belief systems that have guided you towards really hurtful, upset relationships and connections. It does feel like this is coming from parental energies here. You could have a grandfather and a mother. You could have a grandmother and a father. You could have a father and a mother, a grandmother and a grandfather, an auntie and uncle. Take it as it resonates, right? And then over here, you do have people who, maybe you had an older lover who just told you everything that they thought you wanted to hear, and it sounded so good. Like, no one's ever talked to me the way that they did because they're so mature, and they sound like they're so mature, and they sound like they've got so much going for them. And then here you have the Knight of Wands, who's like, someone just sold me this idea that, like, if we match sexually, then life should be good. And it was good. It was good while it lasted. It was amazing while we had what we had. And it's not denying the good times that were there. You know, maybe you got some wisdom from your mother at some point. Maybe even though she was a narcissist or someone who was a sociopath or just completely emotionally disconnected, there's this possibility that maybe there is wisdom still imparted. And if it's not from her directly, they're just showing it's from the way she showed up. The same with your grandfather, or whatever the situation is. They're showing these examples, but look at all these people that you've dealt with. And this is also showing that there's freedom in your forgiveness, right? It's like, instead of holding a grudge on all of these individuals, right? You were the common denominator, which we don't have a fifth card here. You know what? Let me grab one from my other deck. Let's just can we get a common denominator between these? Can you give us an energy of what pile number 1 is in? Right away, came out. We have the devil energy. So let's put that there. This is intriguing. And then on the bottom of the deck, we have the 2 of Wands in the reverse. And the 2 of Wands really doesn't have a negative meaning. It's just talking about, like, you have a choice. You're the one that has a choice here. Okay, like, with the devil showing up in the reverse, that's showing that it's easy, right? This is something that's easy to get caught up in the negative mindset that has been presented by these situations. Did you suffer? Yes. Did you have trauma? Yes. Was it painful? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that we have to stay in that same energy, which is what the devil is suggesting here, is that it's hard for you to look into the deeper meanings of why these relationships happen. But there's a sense of holding on to victimization, which tends to be something we begin to identify with after we've had so many things happen to us. It's like saying, well, I'm just a victim. Well, the more that you say, I'm just a victim, then the universe complies and creates situations where you become just a victim. And it's like you're almost like an innocent bystander in all situations. You were an innocent bystander in all these situations, and that belief became so ingrained and rooted into your mind. And it's maybe something that, like, saying it, you're like, but I don't believe that. It's something that's a deeply ingrained belief connected to the trauma itself. And so advice on how to overcome that with the devil card, we're even seeing that here with the devil card, with this black stripe here being in the mindset, right? You have the head of the card and the foot of the card. But with this black being in the head of the card, we're talking about digging into the abyss, digging into the darkness, digging into the heart and the pain, and finding the light, which we saw at the beginning. It's like going through the darkness to find the light, like recognizing that, yes, all these things were awful. They were terrible, and validating how you felt, knowing that, like, you have every right to be angry about what happened to you. You have every right to be hurt by what happened to you. You have every right to feel whatever it is that's coming through. You have every right to feel that. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing, is to honor that and respect that part of yourself. But what ends up happening is the mindset becomes something connected to this devil energy, saying like, oh, well, here we go again. Here's another failed relationship. So that means that I'm always a victim. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where the difference is that this has to do with your mind, the mind that you have, especially with the Popess and the King of Swords here on either side. We have this energy. It's like this is something that has to do with the thinking mind. The Ajna chakra has to do with, which is what the Popess is connected to. The Ajna chakra has to do with our ability to imagine and believe that we deserve a better life. Okay, the King of Swords connects with Gemini energy, which is our ability to communicate, our logical and our rational mind. Okay, you have Capricorn energy, which is ruling the root chakra, and with it in the reverse is the inability to bring it into this physical realm. Well, you see here with both of these being in the reverse, there's this energy where you're not able to bring that into a balanced state in order to manifest it. So what continues to manifest is what you're thinking about yourself. and becoming aware of how you really talk to yourself. Do you really believe that you're a victim? Is that really your truth? Or are you actually an empowered empath and you're capable of creating the life that you desire? That it just takes a little shift in the energy here, right? And that's okay. Like, wherever you're at, please, this is not a reason to beat yourself up for it or to be like, oh my gosh, this is just a realization that's coming through. The source is saying, yes, you've been brokenhearted. Yes, you've been lied to. Yes, you've been told fantastic, phenomenal stories that didn't turn out. Yes, you've been told, I'm going to change, I'm going to change, I'm going to change. And then all you ever saw was people go back on their word. All you ever saw was people go back on what they promised you, and they never were able to give that, right? If she were to go to the Grand Canyon, they could fill it up with all the lies he told her. You have that very same energy. You could fill up the Grand Canyon with all the times people lied, hurt, stole, and cheated from you. Like, you could fill it up. I absolutely believe that. But the difference is just because you can fill up the Grand Canyon, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of seeing yourself through eyes of love. Right? And the devil is the 15 card, and that's synchronistic because it turns into numerology in number 6, and 6 is about resolution, answers, solutions to the problem, seeing yourself through the eyes of unconditional love, right? You're constantly in this place of imbalance, but we want to find balance here. We want to find balance, right? Look at this. You have the 10 of coins in the upright and the hermit in the upright. Your success comes from doing the search on yourself, doing this growth on yourself, like recognizing that you have a choice to let go of the family issues that happened, the burdens and the hardships that came. Source is giving you a leg up here. You're getting an answer to your problem here, but it's been very difficult for you to, because there was a lack of boundaries here. There was an inability to set boundaries because no one showed you how. Whatever the story is, it's okay. Like, it's okay. You don't have to feel bad about that. So many people deal with that. Like, I don't have the ability to heal, but look, you see people here. This could have been, I know this talks about romantic frustration, but you could have had a brother. This could have been your mother and your father, and this could have been a grandfather's situation. All these family members that are like weighing in on you, which we saw with the family card. This could equally be lovers and teachers and mentors that were in your life. This could be friends and so on and so forth. This could be coworkers, right? It doesn't matter what the situation is. The result is all the same here, but it's like you have to go and look at the wounds of the past and really dive deep into that darkness, because through the darkness, pile one, you find light. That's what they're really showing here. Let's get some oracles out for you. And we do have 11 coming out a lot for you. You may see 11 a lot. And 11 is talking about a very spiritual number. It's the first master number. It's a gift of the divine. It's a gift of spiritual enlightenment and understanding and divine connections, right? And we've twisted that to think that it means divine connection with our soulmate. But it's actually divine connection with source energy and our higher selves. Look at this. We have square on the bottom, a challenging situation. This is a mountain to climb. This is why, and I don't blame you, this is why it's easier to dust this under the rug and leave it for a later time. But understanding that the more that you do that, one day this is going to blow up and it's going to spill out everywhere and make a mess of things if you don't face it. And that's just unfortunately the way that it works. The more that we try to hide from it and the more that we try to bury it, the bigger it becomes when it finally does surface. And I wish I could say it was different. I wish I could tell you, pile one, that like, no, just leave that buried. Don't face that. Don't worry about that. But it feels like you have quite a few people here that your freedom comes from forgiveness. And forgiveness is not an invitation back into your life. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened is okay. Forgiveness is simply releasing the chains on and acknowledging that what happened cannot be changed. We don't have a time machine. And so forgiveness is truly our time machine, if we put it that way. It's truly our time machine to go back and tell our younger selves that we get better, we get stronger, We get more grounded. We get capable of fighting our own battles. Responsibility. It's been really hard for you to see this in any other way. This is a very black and white situation for you. It's like it's either or. Like if I forgive them, that means that I'm telling them what they did was okay. Remember, we don't have to go to someone and say, I forgive you. We don't have to tell them I forgive you to their face. It's an energy that we embody where we say, I forgive them because I'm tired of being bound by them. And it's not going to happen the first time you do it, but one day when you keep practicing, you'll wake up and your heart will just know, okay, it's time to let this go. But this has been something that's been very difficult for you, and it's been eating away at you because it's easy to see this in black and white. Like we have the ancestor card behind that. So this is not only a message from your spirit guides and your ancestors, but they're also pointing out that this is family members who definitely you need to let go of. We have the number 8 with 26 here and 16 with 7. It's like if you want luck in your life, the abundance that you're looking for, you have to release the karmic connections, right? This is about releasing soul ties that are keeping you stagnant. Like you may be trying to manifest abundance in your life and just wondering, like, why the heck can I manifest abundance? Like, I cannot make this up. Release flipped over here. And I don't know if you can hear that grackle. That grackle, he's always outside my window, but he doesn't always make noise. And so right now he's making all kinds of noise. You can hear the squawking. That's a grackle. They're called grackles. They're very interesting birds. But we have release with autumn equinox. Like, this is something you're being asked to do, is to release this. And releasing it comes from forgiveness. Right? Instinct. Again, this is like a mountain to climb. This is something that's been very difficult for you. But intuitively, you've been led to do this many times before. But there's still that emotional egoic place that's holding on, saying, no, I can't do that. So it's like, this is probably not the first message that you've heard about forgiveness. Like, but you're probably like, yeah, I've heard this before. I've gotten this message before. Like, it happens a lot. Like, it comes up a lot, but I just don't think I can let go. Remember, when we don't let go, we begin to identify with that situation, which tells Source that we can't identify with something new, what we want, because we're so stuck on identifying with the fact that we've been a victim. And it's easy to do, to identify as a victim. It's simple to let go of, but that doesn't make it easy to let go of, right? And it's easy to continue on the same projectile path that you've been on. Inertia. Time to let go. Look, I cannot make this up. We have Groundhog Spirit, and look, he's holding a little heart in his hand. And then we have 31, which is 4, and that's all about finding your strength, your structure, and your stability. Look, miracles are endless. If you want miracles in your life, you have to let go. We have release twice from 2 different decks. Okay, let's grab one of these cards. Let's get a message of the Cosmos Oracle here for pile 1, Source. Okay, they want those 2. On the bottom, make time to play, have fun, and be free. I kept getting that 30:03 on the clock. Be free. That's something that's very, very important for you, is to remember what it is to have fun. I feel like I need to ask, when is the last time you had a big belly laugh where your stomach hurt? And if you're like, I don't even remember, then do something today that makes you laugh. Even if you have to do it yourself, just start laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing and see what happens. Laughter is healing. You know, and I get that. Ooh, I've been there. So one time I went so long without laughing, I didn't even know what it was to smile anymore. I was like, whoa, what is this? You know? Rocky, it's been a rough road for you. You must decide whether it's worth it to keep going. Only you can make the decision. No matter what messages you receive from a tarot reader. Okay, this flipped out, so I'll take it. No matter what messages you receive from a tarot reader, no matter what messages you receive from a guru, a master, someone who's a life coach, you're the only one that can make the decision. No one else can make it for you. I wish we could give it away and say, hey, let me let you take care of it. Because that would just make my life a lot easier, right? But that's not the way that it works. It just doesn't work like that. Okay, on the bottom of the deck we have, yes, the time is for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectations. Positive mindset is so important. Okay, so let's see what we've got going on here with your oracle cards. House 12, spirituality, transcendence, karma, sacrificial service, and healing. So again, a message from source. Your healing comes from facing your karma, facing the debt, right? And not thinking it in terms of what the heck did I do in what life to deserve this. That's not what we're talking about. The karma is just, we can continue to live in the hurt and the pain, which continues to reiterate those cycles. Think of it in terms of like that. If we continue to live in the pain and being a victim, we're going to continue to get karmic cycles of being a victim. We're meant to transcend that, though. What we see here with the 12th house, there's a lot of guilt and blame and suffering and shame that's coming from this situation. And when you let that go, you free yourself. Capricorn energy. We have Capricorn. Look, I asked an energy for you, and Capricorn came out with the devil, and we have Capricorn coming out here. Ambition, realism, and methodical steps. They're saying it's slow and steady wins the race here. You're not trying to race to the end. We're just trying to find a calm and beautiful way to let go, to free yourself. Okay, so you could be a Capricorn, have Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus in Capricorn. I'm also hearing that you might have the 8th house in Capricorn, the 8th house in Leo. You may have a Gemini Sun with your 9th house in Taurus. Okay, that's really specific coming through. Okay, so I don't know. Anyways, we have stability here with Sea Turtle. Exactly, we said that. Bringing in your strength, structure, your stability, with 8 being the number of karma, but also the number of abundance. What goes around comes around. So you can stay on the merry-go-round of living and reliving these same patterns over again, which is, it's up to you. It's not right or wrong. It's up to you. It's the decision that you get to make. 33:33 on the clock. But if you also choose to let go, then you get to choose what kind of abundance you bring into your life. And this is healing the inner child here we see. Spirit has your back. Number 23. This is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable, but you're not going to walk this journey alone. Source has got you. Source is walking with you. We have speak up and speak out. Let your voice be heard loud and clear. It's time for you to speak your truth. It's time for you to live in your truth. But if we continue to live in an illusion of I'm a victim, how can we ever empower ourselves to speak our truth? Find ways to lighten up and not take everything so seriously. Yeah. Play. It's time for you to play. Have play and fun and pleasure in your life again. So we have ruins. Things you no longer need are falling away to make room for the love you deserve. Okay, so what was is in ruins. Okay, it's falling away. Fierce, yep. You act aggressive, but you are just protecting yourself. Soften your heart so you can feel again. And with the play coming out and this card coming out, it's showing that there's a deep disconnect from the sacral chakra. So you would very greatly benefit if you focused on sacral chakra healing, okay? We have Opal. Your children on earth and in heaven are happy and well cared for by God and the angels. And I feel like the reason that this came out, it's not because, I mean, there could be children involved in this situation, absolutely, okay? But I really feel like this is reiterating that this is healing your inner child. This is deep healing of the inner child. And this is profound work. Whoa, hello, let go. I picked up my thing that my dice go in, and it dumped my dice all over. All right, so yeah, and they said the 3rd house in Leo. Leo energy is coming out really strong. So 3rd and 8th house in Leo. So this could be a father figure. Let's go ahead and take a look at your oracle card that you picked. We have protection. Look, isn't this interesting? You're just protecting yourself, and we have protection coming through here. So there's definitely this energy of, it's like I was saying earlier, like, nope, I'm just going to live in this energy because I don't want to connect with people. Like, I don't want to get hurt again. So there's definitely this energy of like protecting yourself for fear of getting hurt again, and remembering that new situations aren't past situations. And that's where healing really takes off, is when we let situations unfold without holding expectations, good or bad. We just let them be, right? So let's see what protection says here. protection. And here's the symbol if you'd like to pause this and copy that down, the insignia. It says, you are divinely protected. The scary door knocker in the center of this card is here to protect you. Wow, I just flipped it. To cast away the darkness and bring home good fortune and health to you. Look, I can't make this stuff up. Your home and your family. Spend some time with this card to feel its power, right? We're empowering ourselves. Yes, I love this. Imagine the force field that radiates outward and expands as you strengthen. Hold on, I gotta flip the page, and this is very awkward. Your intent. You are shielded in this dome, and all the negative energy, curses, and bad wishes bounce off of it. If a negative vibe approaches, your energy shines bright and powerful and quickly repels it. Embrace and comfort your inner child. I cannot make this stuff up. That was left longing. You are safe in this time and space. And your affirmation here is, I am sheltered. Oh, so there's no need to continue protecting yourself, like shielding. It's like you're shielding yourself and blocking away everything for fear of getting hurt again. And to heal this means to start unraveling what's been so tightly wound up around your heart. It's just like piece by piece, you pick it apart, you unravel it, and you let yourself feel again, and you let yourself love again. But it starts with self. You have to feel what you feel in the situations you've been through and begin to love yourself and to know that it's okay to validate yourself in these hardships that you've been through. You've been through a lot, pile one. This is a lot of healing. It is a challenging situation, but I know in my heart of hearts, I know if you take the steps forward, you will be everything that you ever dreamed you could be. Okay? And you will let go of the things that hold you back, which you so greatly deserve. So if you feel like this is your reading, leave a little lion emoji down below and say, I allow the armor of my heart to soften and I begin to love myself so I can teach others how to love me correctly. Leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second to thank your guide, your spirit messengers, your angel source, my guides, and the ancestors for making an appearance on this reading and giving us this message. And until next time, pile number one, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of carnelian, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on advice on overcoming your horror story. This is a part 2. So, also, I want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to support this channel and be a part of this ever-growing tribe. I'm truly honored to have you as a part of this amazing experience with me. For those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. Remember, these are general readings, so take what resonates, leave what does not, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, you will find all those links below in the description box, where you can email me for a personal reading. I'll get you out further information from there. You may follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. And also there is a link to join memberships down below as well. And when you click on that link, it'll take you to the page that shows you all the options that are available. So I do hope to see you on memberships. And if not, thank you for your continued support here. So that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it. And if you didn't catch the first one, that was Let Me Understand Your Horror Story. You can definitely go watch that, but this is a part 2 in regards to that. So source, for pile number 2, what advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? Source, what advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? What would you like them to know on how they can overcome their horror story, source? Okay, so we've got the first house. We have Neptune and Leo energy. Expressing what's hidden is the message here. Letting yourself really express the things that you've run away from or shied away from, like the parts of you that you've put behind a closed door. You know, it's like maybe you'll express those when you're by yourself and you won't share those with anyone else, but this is about you really being brave enough to put that out there and to be courageous enough to share the you that deserves to be seen, right? You shouldn't fear yourself for any reason. It's illogical for us to fear ourselves, and yet after all the trauma and the hardships that we've been through, it's oftentimes the only thing that we can logically deduct is that there's a need to fear ourselves, our abilities, our capabilities, our gifts, our intellect, our self in general, just who we are and how we present ourselves, because we've been rejected or shamed or, we've been alienated in some way. And so the message here is to really find a way to ground yourself in who you are and your approach to life, and understand that there is a beautiful gift in that part of you, right? There's a beautiful gift in that part of you. But with Neptune here, we see the illusion or what's hidden from us, right? What's not openly available to us. So this may even be a struggle for you, Pile 2, because it may be that you've hidden this part of you for so long that uncovering this is the journey, right? It's like all about uncovering the part of you that you've just said, no, it's okay, go lay down in bed and I'm going to close the door and I'll come and get you when I'm ready. And then you just never went and got that part of yourself again. You just left it in bed and it's happily dreaming and happily sleeping, and you're like, why do I gotta bother it? And it's because that's a part of you that when you reconnect with, you're going to learn a lot more about yourself. There's a lot of shame here is what I'm feeling. The main energy is shame. I'm ashamed of myself. For some reason, it's like someone either made you feel ashamed of who you are or who you could potentially become. And it was like when you shut the door on that part of yourself, it made other people happy and comfortable, but it actually made you very uncomfortable. And so you got very good at molding your energy, right, to fit in various situations. And in doing so, you really, it's like it's easy for me to blend in. But it's easier for me to just blend into the situation rather than it is to be authentic to myself. And I do feel like for you, Pile 2, there has been absolutely a search for authenticity. And while that blending in is definitely a true gift, it has also kept you from really living your authentic truth and who you are, because you still hide from that part of yourself for fear that there's going to be rejection, for fear that there's going to be criticism, for fear of an insert whatever it is. And you might be like, but I'm not afraid of myself. No, you're afraid of getting hurt. You're afraid of being injured. You're afraid of having a broken heart. So it's not really yourself, but it's that part of yourself that became the fear itself, right? So our mind puts a logic into this, and it's saying okay, I'm afraid of all these things happening to me, so I must be afraid of myself, right? And that's exactly what we see happening here. And so it's very important for you to express yourself. You may be an introvert, and the only way for you to begin to express yourself is by doing things that are extroverted, and vice versa. You may be an extrovert, and the only way to truly express yourself are to do more things that are introverted. And that's where your power comes from, and that's where you allowing yourself to be seen comes from. I'm going to fold this up so that I can shuffle the deck. So I got espacio. Alright, so we're going to ask the tarot. This is a completion for you. This is you coming into a sense of completion and letting go of a childlike mindset, something that's been holding you back. Okay, so source for pile number 2. What advice do you have for pile number 2 in overcoming their horror story? You know, when we're letting go of trauma like that's happened to us, that's really imprinted itself on us, we have to sometimes do something that's not not like crazy, but that's different, drastically different than what we've done before. And that's what it feels like. This is asking you to do something drastically different. And so there is a bit of resistance that's coming through here. Like, I don't know if I can do that. And they're saying that you can absolutely do that. What is the advice for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? Thank you, Source. What is the advice for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? So your soul tribe is seeking you, but they haven't been able to find you because you've been hiding in the shadows. So what advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story, Source? Thank you. What advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? Thank you. Source, what advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? Okay. Thank you. What advice do you have for pile number 2 on overcoming their horror story? One more card, please. Whoa, just one. Well, I'll take it. It's obviously a clarifying card, so we'll see what happens. I'll take it. And we have the 6 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. Yeah. It's like you didn't want... It was easier to hide yourself than it was to stand out, because that meant that you couldn't... Like, if I hide myself, I'm not rocking the boat. And so they want you to rock the boat here with the 6 of Swords on the bottom. They want you to reconnect with yourself. This is a huge transformation for you. This is something you want to bring in. But there's also this mind. This is a mindset, right? The 10 of Swords here is coming in as a mindset. Like, who else am I going to meet that's going to try and beat me down? Who else am I going to meet that's going to make me feel like I'm insignificant, or that I am crazy, or that I don't know what I'm talking about when I really do know? Like, who else is going to make me feel like I don't have these gifts? Or who else is going to make me feel small, right? And that's this fear that's coming in. And it's like you want to cut out doing something different, but it's also hurting you in a lot of ways physically. You may feel a lot of body aches and pains coming in. You may be dealing with a lot of neck and shoulder pain. And ankle pain is coming in as well for me here. And so this is like saying it's like having an inflexibility to life, right? Anytime you have any pain in your shoulders or your neck, it's like I'm immobile to look at things a different way. And anytime you have pain in your ankles, it's an inflexibility to move about life, right? Like, I'm not going to be flexible about this. This is something I'm not willing to negotiate. And again, we're just looking at healing. It's your choice what you do. This is not a force. It's not something that's coming in saying you absolutely have to do this. You get to choose what you do. It's just we're asking what advice there is. And so with advice, you can choose to take it or you can choose to leave it, right? And that's okay. There's no right or wrong here. And remembering that as you're moving forward. But there is a resistance here and a wondering as to what's coming next. And so they're just saying here that you have the ability to do everything that you need to do. You have all that you need to be successful. You have all that you need to overcome this problem. But right now, what we need you to lay down is your emotions and your thoughts in regards to that, and focus more on taking action towards what's making you happy, what's making you feel better about yourself, because when you do that, you'll begin to allow yourself to free up time and space to be present with those emotions that you're feeling, okay? Plus, doing the things that make you happy kind of give you this energy to really begin to express yourself authentically. So yeah, we have the Hangman starting your reading. Perspective. How you're seeing this is everything, right? And with the 9 of Swords here in the reverse, we see a difficulty in seeing red flags, but I really feel like this is internal red flags, like where you're shutting yourself off at. Like, it feels like something that's on autopilot. And in order to break the cycle, you have to become consciously aware of what you do when you do it. And it's like, that's impossible. No, it's not. It's not impossible. It just means you become consciously aware of everything you're doing each and every day. And then asking yourself, like, what is the cause of this? Is this something that I really want to have in my life moving forward? Is this how I want to be? So we see here starting with perspective. We have justice coming in here. Okay. And then we have the Hermit in the reverse, clarified by the Two of Swords in the upright. This is interesting energy, right? This is very interesting because your freedom, and freedom is something I've been using a lot on this reading, oddly enough, but it's just what's coming through. But your freedom and your justice and your balance in life, right? Your balance in life comes from you paying attention to the hardships that you put yourself into, and it's not your fault, okay? I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, like you're so terrible to yourself, but I feel like it's like if something goes awry in your day, what were your thoughts leading up to that? You become painfully aware of all your thoughts, and it takes practice. This is something that takes practice and time and effort and consistency and persistence to do, right? But saying that you are on the path to a positive outcome here, but it comes from allowing yourself to let go of this old energy here that we see where it's very stubborn, this inflexibility. I don't want to change. I'm afraid to change. I feel like it's like if it weren't so frightening to your emotional ego, right? And it's not something that you might be even consciously aware of. Like, it's just saying, if it wasn't so frightening to my emotional ego, I'd be willing to change this easily. Fine, cool. But we do see that there's this closed and reclusive attitude here and this isolation forcing on yourself because you're looking for the defects in life, because you're looking for the defects in others, because you're looking for the defects even in yourself. And I feel like it's more of a self-proclaimed energy here where it's like, okay, I'm going to protect myself by seeing all my own faults, and that way then I can justify locking that part of myself away. And it's something that came from a huge trauma. We're talking about the horror story, right? Like, if you caught the let me understand your horror story, this is the second part of that. So what we're seeing here, though, is reminiscent of whatever the worst trauma it was that happened to you is keeping you in a place where you're self-judging. And that may manifest in various different ways where people come into your life and you feel this deep need to immediately compare yourself to someone where you actually have no comparison, right? The only person that's our competition in life is ourselves. But with the Hermit in reverse next to the Nine of Swords in the reverse, we're seeing that one of the biggest red flags for yourself to focus on healing and to let go of and to move away from is this closed off energy of, I'm not going to heal that. I don't want to face that part of myself because I know I'm not good enough. And it's like, even if you're trying to manifest better, like, this is always going to keep you where you're at if you don't look at it, right? And there'll come a day, if you choose not to, there'll come a day many years down the road where something will happen and you'll ask yourself, why didn't I look at this sooner? Why didn't I look at this when I knew about it? Why didn't I look at this when I was just being so reluctant to change? And that's what it really feels like here, is just a deep reluctance to change because the defaults are easier to look for than the hope. Because there's like, catastrophizing is like the energy that's coming in, like always looking for the worst of the worst. Like, you go to the grocery store hoping that they have your favorite cereal, and the whole time there you're like, they probably don't have it, they're probably sold out, they're always sold out, oh my gosh, they never have it. And then you get there, and if they have it, you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they had it. You're like, oh, okay, so they had it this one time. Like, it's always like the negative aspect of it, and you may not even realize that you're saying these things to yourself or saying these things inside your mind. Like, it's because it's something that feels very habitual. It's like I said, it's on autopilot. It's just going and going and going and going, and you're just being run by that. without recognizing it. And so it's the positivity journey might be something that eludes you, because it's like, well, I say my affirmations every day. Well, I try to be in gratitude every day. But it's like, when you come at life with a pessimistic undertone, life is still going to continue to give you circumstances that remind you why you're pessimistic, right? It's like, you can practice gratitude and say, well, I'm grateful for the roof I have over my head, but then all day spend time thinking about, like, why does my house always fall apart? Like, why is it such a terrible house? Like, I shouldn't even have this house. Oh, I wish I had something different. You know, like, that's not being in a form of gratitude. That's it's like trying to put a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. It just doesn't work, right? Like, it's just bleeding through the band-aid, and that's the negativity. It's just bleeding through the gratitude, and the gratitude isn't enough to make up for the internal negative thoughts that we see, which are being brought up here. And they're saying that the best way to heal this is to become painfully aware of how you talk to yourself. And I feel like that's where the reluctance comes from, because you're aware of the dissonance between yourself and in reality. And it's almost like you fear that you're worthy of good things. Like, there's a weird fear, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. We're not, it's nothing to judge yourself on. It's nothing that I'm over here. Like, it's just something that's like, you're so used to convincing yourself that you're not, that to try to convince yourself that you are means that you have to look at all those painful things that you went through, pile 2. And that's so frustrating and so disheartening, and it's scary, because it's like, I have to relive all those hurts and pains again. But in reality, whereas you might relive them, right? You might relive them. You're not reliving them the same way. You're in a safe space. You are safe. Okay? But this is something that's going to help you see the life in front of your face in a much better light. And it's going to help you relinquish this need to constantly be so negative towards yourself. And again, it's something that's been going on for a long time. It's like, it's not something that you necessarily even think about. It's like, you could be controlled by your thoughts without recognizing it. That's something that's so human that it's not even funny. It's how human it is. Everybody deals with that. Okay, but for you, pile 2, how you heal this is by becoming painfully aware of your negative thoughts, which will actually lead you to the core wound. And leading you to the core wound will help you understand, wow, this is why I've been catastrophizing everything. Like, this is why I've been saying all the bad things are always going to happen. Like, this is because it stems from a wound in your childhood. It stems from a wound that could have happened at the ages 2, 6, or 9. 9 being highlighted very heavily here, okay? And it's showing that it's like, at that time when the wound happened, you lost your childlike innocence, and it was like, well, this is the painful reality. Not just, this is an experience happening to me right now. This is like, you really embodied that this is reality. And from that time, your emotional ego has been very, very adamant in proving that to you, right? And that's really what our emotional ego does. It proves to us the beliefs that it wants to hold on to, and it holds on tooth and nail. And so you might watch a lot of the news, and you see all these horrible things happen on the news, and your ego's like, see, I told you everything's so terrible. And, you might just be watching the news for the weather and the morning traffic report, but you watch the whole thing and you're not even thinking about, oh, like, all this negativity is coming to me, right? Or you may be talking to friends and they may be gossiping and they may be saying things, and you're engaging in that, and your ego's like, see, I told you, like, no one likes anyone else. Like, it's like, without thinking about it. That's what the emotional ego does. It's the silent demon that lives within inside of us that convinces us of so many things. And I'm not trying to scare you. It's just that. It's just actually not tiny. It's a loud voice that spends so much time convincing us of what it wants, just so that it can hold on to this illusion that it's created. This card flipped over right away. We have Cardinal with Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, instigation, bravery, and a pioneering spirit. You're going to have to pave the way. You're the way shower. You know the best way to heal yourself, right? And the advice here is really just becoming aware of your emotional well-being. Look, we have Leo making an appearance again. Self-confidence, loyalty, and creativity. Okay, sometimes getting creative with the journey will absolutely help you out for the best. Okay, there's a lot of fiery energy coming in here. This is about stoking your soul fire and letting your soul become the voice that you listen to. And this is easier said than done. Okay, and I attest to that. I know from my own personal experiences, it's much easier said than done. But I can promise you that with practice and patience, you will get to a point where you actually see those negative thoughts when they come up and you're like, oh, hey, hold on, that's not true. And then with even more practice from my own experience, I can promise you that the soul voice comes in and you get inundated by this love and this nurturing that helps guide you through life, and it becomes the voice that you see and listen, and you know that that's your inner higher self. Like, we have more fire energy with House 9, spiritual growth. This is where your next spiritual growth is heading, is taking you towards, right? This is the next part of your enlightenment journey, is to heal from this. This is a deep wound, and this is going to help you spread your wings and fly. Okay, so what do we have on the bottom here? Release. Yeah, I cannot make this up. You're meant to let it go and not be afraid of it anymore. You have this jaguar standing behind you. You're completely vulnerable to what potentially could happen. You know, like, what if somebody stabs me in the back? What if this jaguar attacks me from behind? But that's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to let go, to grow, to glow, and to become. And knowing that you are protected, you are safe, you are loved, you are love, and you are lovable. And that's what's so powerful about it. And again, number 9 with the release card. So the age 9 might have, for some of you, might have been very traumatizing. Okay, that might have been a very traumatizing time in your life, but it is pointing out that that's around the age when this happened. Okay, they want this one. On the bottom, it's time for you to celebrate life, to dance. You know, and this is also pointing out that dancing, like we have the grounding card peeking out here. This could also point out that dancing will help ground you. It will also help you heal your sacral chakra, but it'll also help you release a lot of energy. So if you dance and you dance really hard and you're moving around and all of a sudden you start crying, like, let yourself cry. That's energetic release. Okay, like, that's energy's finally moving and it's coming out in the form of tears. Don't be like, oh my gosh, why the heck am I crying? Like, don't shy away from that, right? Like, that's a powerful thing. Look, exactly. I can't make this up. We have the wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. And then we have 64, which is 10 in numerology, showing that this is the completion of a cycle for you. We got that in the very beginning. That energy came through so powerfully. But sometimes life stings. Sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes even we unknowingly sting ourselves, right? Because of how harsh life has been to us. It's time for you to be playful. Yeah, so connecting with your heart and your sacral chakra are very important here for you. Okay, let's see. I keep hearing that. Ooh, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. So maybe that's the energy that's coming in, is like when you free yourself, you're going to have somebody that dances through life with you. That could be a guide, an angel, an ancestor. That could equally be a person in your life, a lover, a friend, a coworker, a partner, whatever it is. But it's like when you dance, right? That's helping you bring back this sense of play in your life. Give yourself some credit for doing a good job at this whole living thing. Exactly. Like, there's no reason to beat yourself up for what comes through on these readings. This is just to help give you additional advice and guidance on how to heal. That's all it is, right? It doesn't mean you're doing a terrible job at it. That's not what that means. You're doing a good job. You've done a lot. Sometimes life is still hard to us, right? Crushed. Yeah, you're hurting emotionally right now. You need time to heal before you jump in again. I feel like that's where the thoughts come from that say that you're not worthy or you're not deserving of having good things in your life. Like, it's because you've had your heart broken so many times that it's like your emotional ego is saying, like, well, if our heart's been broken by every person that's ever been in our lives, then how can I ever be loved? Right? But there's this part of you that you've hidden from that outshines your emotional ego and the pain. And that's why they're saying, like, you are lovable. Okay? You are lovable. You're a beautiful soul, and you absolutely deserve love. Above all else, you deserve to love yourself and to love every part of yourself and express every part of yourself, and you get to fall in love with yourself every day. And that's something that is so exciting. And in falling in love with yourself every day, you get to find out and experience who you are at a soul level, and that's an adventure. We have a Kasha on the bottom. You are a spiritual teacher. You have the ability to counsel others and help them awaken to their spiritual gifts and their divine life mission. So you do have a very powerful purpose here, okay? Like, this is something that's very powerful. Let's see what we've got going on here. We have creation with snake in number 43. Look, you've got a heart of gold. The thing is that you've built up a very, very strong armor around it, but not just an armor. It's like you've built up a wall around yourself. Okay? And this is asking you to de-armor, to de-wall, if you will, yourself, and to let your roots grow strong in knowing that you deserve to let your heart shine. You deserve to let your heart be seen. And it is safe for you to wear your heart on your sleeve, knowing that you protect your heart. You're not giving it away to someone else for them to have control over you. We've already done that. We've lived that. We know that doesn't work, right? But it's okay for you to live with your heart on your sleeve and express a deep, beautiful part of yourself here, knowing that you are your protector. You are your savior. This is an activation for you. You're being initiated into the next level of your journey here by this. Okay, we're clearing out the cobwebs. We're realizing that sometimes we had to go through these hardships in order to become the strong individual that we are. It's in order for us to recognize the perceptions that we gave ourselves at a young age, that we go through the hardships time and time again to see that those perceptions, right, the perspectives that we have actually are what's not serving us. It's not really other people. It's not really other circumstances. It's not anything outside of us. It actually comes from within. But when we're young, we don't know how to protect ourselves other than creating our emotional ego. That's the only thing that we know as a dependent to create to protect ourselves, right? And oftentimes we get a lot of that from our family and from our friends and the people around us. We begin to mirror things that they do that seemingly looks like they're protecting themselves as well, right? Only to find out later on that that really did not work at all, but it sounded good, right? It sure sounded good. Stop trying to carry the world on your shoulders. Didn't I say you had neck and shoulder pain? Wow. Whoa. Thank you so much, Source, for that confirmation. Thank you. That's why there's this inflexibility to see it as different, to see yourself as different than you do. But you deserve to see yourself with that loving gaze. Take responsibility for your choices. This is your life to live. Own it. And I've been saying this whole, on your reading, it's your choice. I have been saying that on your reading. I didn't say that for pile 1. it was just the energy came in. It was like the resistance, like you can choose not to, and that's fine, but own your decision. You can choose to, and that's fine, but own your decision. Like that's the whole thing. Source is bringing this in. It's like, own your decision. This is your life to live. How do you want to live it? And what's it going to take to get you into that place where you have the life that you desire? What do you have to change within? Because the only thing that we can change to come into a higher vibration is ourselves. It's not everyone else. That's carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, which we see here, right? Many flames. It can take many tries to find the right one. Take a break, and you need to, and don't give up. And then we had crushed, and I'll pull that out and leave that out here. Crushed. So there's definitely a broken heart situation here. It's what I was saying, like, if they didn't love me, why am I lovable, like that, you know? And then I was saying, like, that dance with somebody. Who is that? Is that Whitney Houston? I don't know why I'm saying Whitney Houston. I don't actually know who sings that song. But if you know, leave that down in the comments. You guys help me out so much, and I really do appreciate it. You help out the community, which I cannot tell you how much that means to me. It just is so amazing to see you help out each other, and that's such a blessing. But that's what I was saying. It's like you want someone to dance with, right? Somebody who loves me. I want to dance with somebody who loves me. Like, that's the thing. Well, sometimes you have to dance by yourself before you get someone to dance with, right? Let's see what your card is. Grace and Antoinette. To help heal this situation, see the other person's point of view with compassion. This is where the resistance at. I don't want to see their point of view. I don't want to see where they're coming from. Why? Because they hurt me. They should have known better. But you know what? Equally so, we see here that you're hurting yourself. And if you say that I should have known better, I shouldn't hurt myself, I should know better, that kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because you're doing what you've always done. And so when you look at it from that way, then you can begin to see other people's perspective and points of view from compassion, saying like, that's not something that I want in my life, but I can understand why you're doing what you've done. Like, I understand, right? It's an understanding, and it's a clarity that comes that when we said with the hangman, changes our perspective of the whole world. And they're pointing that out here. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've tried many times and you've been crushed. Absolutely. We're not trying to invalidate that. We're trying to help you validate that, but we want to activate you so that you can step up into your gift for the world by recognizing that even though life stings, you don't have to give up on yourself. You don't also, equally so, do not have to carry the world on your shoulder and try to figure out why Jack was like that, or why Susie did this, or why Billy was like that, or why Brianna did this, or why Gary was like that, or why Brian did this, or why Tiffany did that. We don't have to figure that out. That's not for us to figure out. We only have to figure out ourselves and say, okay, if I can accept the fact that I was doing the best I could with what I knew how, even though what I knew how wasn't very kind to myself. Equally so, then wouldn't that mean that they're coming from a place where they were doing the best that they knew how with what they had, even if that wasn't very kind to themselves or to others, right? But they still tried the best that they could. And, we kind of have to draw away from this idea of whether narcissists know what they're doing or not. If we continue to hold on to this, I have to get back at them, I have to be resentful of them, I have to hurt them the way that they hurt me. This is not an eye for an eye. Our entire existence here is to live in a state of unconditional love. And love is kind. Love is patient. Love isn't cruel. Right? And an eye for an eye puts us in a cruel state of mind. That's why now I'm hearing that. You gotta be cruel to be kind in the right measure. Cruel to be kind. It's a very good sign. No, it's not. Like, that's what they're saying. Like, we're not in an eye for an eye. Like, this is not what that is. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at your card. I just felt that. Like, I felt that release. It's kind of like, but that's how I've always been. That's why I sighed like that, because it's like I felt like someone was letting that go. Like, that's how I've always been, though. Like, I've always given to others what they gave to me, and it's like, yeah, but it hasn't really worked out. And I think you see that. Like, that's the energy coming through. Like, you're seeing that now, and you realize it's just keeping you from finding yourself. And hey, if you want a story, check out my podcast. I've talked about this on my podcast. I am guilty of that too, okay? Like, I am guilty as charged. I have done the eye for an eye, and I have learned my lesson through doing that. And that's why I speak from experience when I talk about this stuff, okay? Like, it's a lot of stuff has happened. I've been through a lot of experiences myself, and I've healed a lot of hardships in my life. And I've learned that a lot of the things that we thought were okay to do, really, it's not that they weren't okay to do, they just don't get us anywhere, and they just keep perpetuating really awful situations in our lives, okay? So let's take a look at your card. We have, look, balanced emotions. Yes. Oh, I love this. I love this already. Synchronistic. Let me show you the insignia. Yeah, I think I talked about that. If you're interested in checking out the podcast, and please don't, it's not an obligation or anything, just if you're interested. It was in season 1, and I actually don't remember what I entitled it, but it's one of my season 1s, and the title is pretty clear. Like, I said, getting back or something like that is like doing unto others what they do unto us or something like that. I really don't remember what I called it, but it's there. All right, so balanced emotions. Jellyfish are graceful creatures that trust the ocean's currents to take them to their destination. Take a moment to evaluate the way you spend your energy. Look, I cannot make this stuff up. This is so synchronistic to what we've been feeling in the reading. Oh, I love this. Sometimes we cannot see the grand picture and get caught up in the moment. And that's okay. Okay? No one's blaming you. No one's saying you did a bad thing, pile 2. Not at all. You're doing the best that you can. It doesn't mean that there's not a better way to do it, or that there's a more aligned way. I think that's the best way to say it. There means that there could be a more aligned way to do things, okay? If we are unable to see the lesson a situation is teaching us, we can get entangled in our emotions and the need for control. Are you holding on too tightly to feelings that don't serve you well? It's easier to see the solution when you feel calmer. Find a peaceful place in your home or outside where you can spend some time allowing your emotions to exist without judgment. Take a breath and acknowledge them, and let go of those that no longer support you. And the affirmation is, I am gentle with my feelings. So this is exactly it, right? It's like, to help heal this situation, see the other person's point of view with compassion. Holding on to control is saying, no, I can't do that. You're asking me to do something that's impossible. I'm actually asking you to do something that's quite possible, because I myself have done it, and I know many, many other people have done it too. So then the question becomes, what makes it feel impossible for you? And honor what the answer is, like, whatever the reason is that comes in. Say, okay, like, that's a very valid reason, but it's not keeping us from doing what we need to do to heal, right? Or what we can do to heal ourselves in the most grounded possible way. Okay? You have this opportunity for you, and it's yours to take. And when you take it, I'm going to tell you, you're going to experience things from a much bigger place. And you're going to see how strong and resilient you truly are. And when you let yourself shine and come back to that place in your heart and allow yourself to express fully who you are, you're going to be so grateful you did, okay? So this is what I have for you, pile number 1. If you feel like this is your reading, I want you to leave a little feather emoji down below and say, I allow the winds to send me towards my activation, knowing that even though life stings, I am strong enough to let go. Okay? Let Source know that you're ready to release this. You're ready to claim that which is rightfully yours. And leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second, though, to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my guides for coming together to give us this message. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Hello, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this beautiful piece of zebra jasper, or if you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, then this is going to be a reading on advice on overcoming your horror story. I do want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that continues to be a supportive part of this journey, this channel. I'm truly honored to be sharing this time in this space with you. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. This is that reminder that we are all here sharing this human experience, and that this is a safe space for you to show up as your highest, most aligned, loving, authentic self. And these are general readings, so please take what resonates, leave what does not, knowing that as you interact with the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing below, it does allow me an opportunity to directly connect with your energy and get you out more resonant readings. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, there are all the links down below in the description box, where you can email me for personal reading. I'll get you out further information. You can follow me on over to my podcast on Spotify at Scatter Love Radio. And I've even have the link down there to join the membership if you're interested. When you click on that, it'll lead you to the page that shows you all the options I have available. So I do hope to see you there. If not, thank you for your continued support here. And with that, let's go ahead and hop to it. Just also keep in mind that this is a part 2. Right, so this is part 2 to this series, and this is the last one was Let Me Understand Your Horror Story. So if you haven't watched that, definitely check that out. And this is about overcoming your horror story. So it's a 2-part type reading. Okay, so source for pile number 3. What's the advice that you have for pile number 3 to overcome their horror story? What would you like to say here, source? What's the advice that you have for pile number 3 to overcome their horror story? What's the advice you have for pile number 3 to overcome their horror story, source? Okay, so we've got the moon, the 4th house, and Capricorn energy. Interesting. So I heard going back to the family roots, going back home is going to help you heal. And I already feel the resistance. Now hold on. That's just one line in this whole reading, okay? But it's showing that this could be the father wound and the mother wound with Capricorn and the 4th house and the moon coming out. And this could also just be showing that it's time for you to become the constructive criticism support system that you need. And what I mean by that is you're able to give yourself that constructive criticism where you're like, hey, look, we did a really good job, but we could really tweak this over here and it would be a lot better, or I would be a lot better. And that allows you to really heal these emotions, right? Becoming more caring and nurturing of yourself and your inner child, while also acknowledging your emotions here. And with Capricorn energy being that masculine take charge type of energy, right? Because Capricorn is the father of the zodiac and Cancer is the mother of the zodiac, okay? But with Capricorn being here, it's like saying to take charge on healing your emotions. Like, face them. Don't be afraid of them. Face them. And that's definitely an underlying theme of this whole reading, is to face our internal emotions. We wouldn't be asking how to overcome these situations if we were ready to face those emotions, right? But no, it's saying to take charge and to discipline yourself in a way that allows you to acknowledge and feel the emotions that you have in regards to the family situation that you grew up in with the 4th house here. Your trauma could very well be connected to a home situation, a family situation. Like I said, it could be the mother or the father wound here. But it's showing that it has really affected the way that you show up in your path of purpose and in your divine purpose and even in your career, your work. It's really affected that because there's times when you might be driven by the way that you feel about a certain circumstance happening, and it's hard not to get emotionally involved, even though that circumstance really has nothing to do with you personally. Sometimes there's this, like, you might struggle with getting emotionally involved and feeling like it's something you personally either have to take on, to solve, to fix, to heal, whatever it is. And so this is about redrawing your energy back to yourself here and giving yourself that time, giving yourself that ability to show up and persist in your own life, and to let go of the pessimism and the burden of that distraction of other people. Okay, and so it's like feeling like, oh well, I'll take care of myself only after Kathy's healed, or I'll take care of myself only after Jake's healed, or I'll take care of myself only after Greg is taken care of, or I'll take care of myself and love myself after the kids are taken care of. Like, you're busy putting yourself on the back burner, and that becomes a very huge burden to you because you're not actually taking care of yourself, and one more thing keeps happening, right? Oh, it's just this one more thing. Well, you take care of that, and then one more thing happens, and it's like, oh, just this one more thing. And so that's what it feels like here, is adding one more thing. Instead of adding one more thing, add you. Okay, hey, I've taken care of that. It's my turn now. I need to go take a long bath. I need to go and have a spirit walk. I need to go and be with nature. I need to go by the ocean, the mountains, the river, the pond, the lake. I need to be out with the trees, the flowers, the garden, the farm, whatever it is, right? I need to be with the animals. It's my turn now. And knowing that that's not greedy, that's not selfish, that's not wrong, it's not rude, right? You spend so much time carrying other people's burdens here that it keeps you from healing yourself. And it feels like this is going back home, is saying that go back to the beginning. Why did this start? When did this start? Was I carrying my parents when I shouldn't have had to? Like, did they put me in a position where I had to be the adult? And it was interesting because when I got ready for your reading, I kept getting like childish energy coming through here. Not you being a child. It was like just childish energy around you in general, where it's like someone has always been very immature and you always felt like you had to step up. Or maybe you had a situation where you lost a parent and you felt like you had to fulfill that role. And so it was like there's an energy coming through with your pile 3 that's basically like you had to fulfill the role of someone that was never yours to fulfill in the first place. Okay, and so that's what they're saying, like putting yourself first will help heal that, but also going back to the beginning will help you heal that. I have to flip this up so that I can shuffle my cards. I don't have room otherwise. So let's go ahead and get some tarot out here for you, pile 1. So Source, what advice do you have for pile... did I say pile 1? I mean pile 3. I mean pile... You could have come from the other 2 piles, and as always, if you've been here with all 3 piles, leave a purple heart down below and say I made it. I know what that means, so thank you if you have. And yeah, so maybe you resonate with some of the messages from pile number 1, or you are here from pile number 1. You do not have to watch it or feel obligated to watch it to gain messages, okay? These are very standalone, and yeah. So if you feel like that. Source, for pile number 3, what advice can you give pile number 3 to help them overcome their horror story? How can pile number 3 overcome their horror story? By finding stability in unstable situations. Like finding stability in yourselves. There's a lot of where it's like if something happens and the whole thing gets unstable, like you're the one that becomes the support or the column or the footprint or whatever. It's like you're becoming the one that takes care of it and holds it up on your shoulders, on your back, on your head, on your heart. And they're saying that in order to help start healing this, you have to become stable for yourself, being the support system for yourself, instead of taking on everyone else's problems. And even if it is family, and that's hard, right? Like that's hard because you want to see your family do the best and you want to have them in a safe, secure place. But this is like saying that it's time for you to be the column in your life. What advice do you have for pile number 3 to help heal from their horror story? Yeah, the illusion is that happiness comes when you make everyone else happy without taking care of yourself, is what they're showing me here, okay? So Source, for pile number 3, what advice do you have for them to help overcome their horror story? Okay, thank you. How can they overcome their horror story, Source? What would you like to say here? Would you like to say, how can they overcome their horror story for pile number 3? Thank you. Okay, Source, how can pile number 3 overcome their horror story? What would you like to say? Okay, they want that one. They want it that way. Alright. How can pile number 3 overcome their horror story? Thank you, Source. Keep hearing, give me all you got. Like, it's like you go to people and you're like, give me all you got. Like, give me everything. Give me the nitty-gritty details. Everything that's going on, and I'll fix it. No. The Hermit in reverse has come down. Has come. I don't know what that means. Has come out in every pile. In every pile. It's been here. The resistance. The resistance to the possibility that you can receive the same love that you give out, the same grace that you give out, the same kindness that you give out. What's been standing in your way is self-sabotage, right? Anytime the King of Wands comes out in the reverse, self-sabotage. We're getting in our own way, right? Is the fact that you're always having to take care of children. Children-minded people. People who aren't growing. What's peaking? This is something that you have been successful at balancing out for your entire life. This is something you've done effortlessly. It's taken on responsibilities of other people and what they've got going on. And there's a huge resistance to this. Okay, let's see what's coming through here. We have the Ten of Wands in the upright. Okay. We have the Lover reversed. Okay. The Nine of Swords reversed. You may have come from another reading, for sure. You don't have to. That's all right. And then we have the Five of Wands in the reverse. All right. Here's the thing. You are very admirable, pile 3. It's admirable to want to help everyone else. It's a gift that if more people were like that, this world would be an entirely different place. It would be. And they're wanting you to know that they admire that about you. That is something that your guides, your ancestors, your angels, your spirit messengers, everybody, even Source, they admire this about you. Absolutely. Okay? What is not admirable, though, is refusing to change this, even though you're suffering. And there's something that I tell people all the time, no matter what it came about one day when someone wasn't wearing a coat in a very cold situation. And the thing is that there is no honor in suffering, no matter what that suffering is. Whether it's being too cold outside or whether it's taking on everyone else's burden while you are completely drained of all energy, or whether it's because you have to suffer because you have kids, or whatever the belief may be, there is no honor in suffering. So it's admirable, but it's not honorable. And that's what they want you to see. Like, no one's going to come up one day, pile 3, and tell you, like, wow, you sacrificed so much to take care of all of my problems. And especially if this is people from work, which we see could be the possibility from Capricorn energy here. This could be also the people from your home. It's like there's no honor in suffering here. And it's like as you continue to suffer, as you continue to give your energy, people just take, and they just expect you to keep showing up from this place of you always giving. And with the Five of Wands in the reverse next to the Hermit in reverse, you have an obstinate refusal to change, right? A critical approach. You're always using caution and suspicion, and you have these very fixed ideas, right? The Five of Wands in the reverse is simple. An obstinate refusal to change. That's what it means. It's simple, right? You're losing one's edge. It's like you're not recognizing right now how much energy that you're giving away. And we're not here scolding you, okay? Someone just said, well, you don't have to scold me about it. I heard it. It was very clear. We're not here scolding you. We're here trying to show you that you giving away, look, all these energies here, we don't have cups cards. We have the Lover. Well, the Lover talks about spiritual defeat. It can talk about, promiscuity, a love triangle. And really, if you're over here helping everyone else, that turns into a weird love triangle because it's between you, that person, and whatever other situation is in that person's life that you're trying to solve. So yes, there we have the triangle, right? You don't need to be the base of that. You don't need to complete that geometrical shape by any means. That's not your job. You want to help, and that's a beautiful thing, but there are other ways to help without giving so much of yourself that you're always running on E. It's funny because I think if I'm not mistaken, I remember that when I was always with the Mexican family that I was staying with, they always asked how empty your tank was, and I can't remember the one, but like if it was like on empty, like on the red line, and like you're driving basically on fumes, they would call it, is it empúcale? And I can't remember, I believe that's how you say it. It's been a long time since I've heard that, and it's not something that, it's like kind of, I think it's slang, but I'm not sure, but it's not something that comes up in my Spanish courses, but it's like, are you on empúcale? Like you have to push or what? And I feel like you're on empúcale, like you have to push, like that's it. And you might say I'm saying it funny, but I'm gonna say it funny because I'm not 100% sure if that's the right way to say it, but that's what they're showing me right now, is like you have to push. You have to push yourself to help another person, and it's like you've taken on so much responsibility that's not yours to take on. And it's interesting because even though the Ten of Wands is in the upright, which really talks about having someone that you are with, that you've gone through so much, that the two of you are inseparable and you continue to grow through it together. Okay, it's a very deep meaning card. But it's interesting because in the reverse, it's talking about taking on responsibility that's not ours. And I'm really getting the reversal meaning here, even though it's in the upright. It's like you have this ability to connect with people, to actually build very strong, valuable connections with people where you're not solving everybody's problems. Where you actually have a connection with someone and you get to connect with them and build a friendship and have this equal two-way, street. But because people present problems to you, like, it's almost like this very instinctual thing where you're like, oh my gosh, they have a problem, I have to solve it. And it comes from your home life, like what you grew up in as a child. And like I said, it's like you were filling the role of someone who could not fulfill a parental role. So whether that was a parent who was acting very immature or was a child in themselves, and it was like, but you became the adult in the situation, and that's been really hard to shift out of that. We were talking about the horror story, and it's like that's something that is very deeply connected with that deep trauma here. And so it's showing that when you let that go, you'll be able to feel much more free about how you're showing up in life. And you won't feel so bound by everyone either, because there's this energy of being bound by everyone, right? It feels like this is something about like losing to a stronger opponent here, is what I'm getting. And I feel like the stronger opponent is your emotional ego saying, well, I'm the honorable one. Like I keep hearing that. I'm the honorable one. I show up and I help everybody. I'm the honorable one. I'm the one that takes care of everybody's problems. Look, pile 3. I know I've said this before, and I've definitely talked about this on my podcast. My mom, she was a Cancer. She was a beautiful, beautiful person. Okay, and same thing. She was someone who took care of everyone and their problems. Like my mom knew everybody's business from here to Timbuktu. She didn't share it, but she knew everybody's business, and she knew how to help other people. She knew how to help them live their lives better. And let me tell you, she gave 100% of herself to everybody that she ever met. And when my mom got cancer and she was sick in the hospital, the first question that she asked me was, why aren't they here? All those people I helped, why aren't they here? And it breaks my heart, because that's why I'm saying there is no honor in suffering. Because the minute that something goes wrong, pile 3, where are they? Where are all those people that you helped? And you could be like, well, maybe they didn't know. Every one of the people that she helped knew about her cancer. Every one of them. Because I'll tell you what, they all showed up to her funeral. But no one showed up to help her when she was in the hospital. No one showed up to wish her well, to pray for her when she was in the hospital. There was 3 people. And there were over 300 people at the funeral. The numbers don't match. There's no honor in taking on all these burdens that are not yours to solve. And you're tired, and you're exhausted, and you've given every part of yourself. And you want people to see how amazing you are and how you're capable of juggling so many things all at once. And you are. You are all of those things. But looking for everyone else's validation does not make it so. You have to believe that without them saying that about you. Because when things go south, none of those people are going to show up for you because they're getting something from you. And they only want a relationship with you when they're getting something from you. And that's why I'm saying this is what the 10 of Wands is showing here. It's showing that you have the ability to create very profound relationships with people, but this old, outdated way of thinking and this place of being the base of the triangle. I'm going to complete the triangle. This is an A and B conversation. Instead of you seeing your way out of it, you become A, B, and C conversation involved in it. And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. They're bringing it up because they want you to understand that this is a huge red flag for you. This is you losing against all those people without realizing that you're losing because you feel so satisfied in helping them find their problems and finding the answer to their problems. That's something that fulfills you, but at what cost? At what cost right now? At the cost of your well-being, at the cost of your health, at the cost of your sleep, at the cost of your mental clarity, at the cost of you. You're meant to help people. That is very clear here, Pile 3. You are meant to help change the world with your beautiful soul. But not at the cost of yourself. There are far more creative ways to help people and people who want to be there for you and with you. Rather than giving yourself away at the hope that someone is going to see you for who you are. Because if I just give it to everyone, then someday someone somewhere is going to see me. It's like being obsessed with being the hero. The hero complex and hoping that people are going to praise you like you're Superman or Wonder Woman, and when they don't, there's this confusion that happens, like, but I was there. I don't want you to end up in a place where you have to ask your family, why aren't they here? Because that was probably the toughest thing that I ever had to answer for my mom. Seeing how much she loved everybody. And I cry, yes, because of my mom, but I cry because I know what you're feeling right now. And I know how important it is for you to fix it. And I know how much it means to you to fix it for them. And how that makes you feel afterwards. And I know that. But I keep having to ask, at what cost? Let me just take a breath here. This is heavy. This is heavy, and I feel like that's what you want so badly, is for people to just see you as the go-to. And fortunately and unfortunately, everyone does see you as the go-to, Pile 3, but everyone also sees, what can I get from Pile 3? Because Pile 3 will always give it to me, and I have to give them nothing, and that is not fair. That is not fair at all. and not with as amazing as you are. And then there's this refusal to change, but you get to heal yourself by not giving to everyone else, by loving and nurturing yourself and being, when I said the father to yourself, the constructive criticism to yourself, like, hey, you know, I gave to Danny, and I gave to Andrea, and I gave to Krisha, and I gave to all these people, and at the end of the day, they didn't show up for me. You know, I gave to Jerry, and I gave to Missy, and I gave to Andrew, and I gave to Philip, and all of them, none of them showed up for me. So I know what doesn't work, but what does work? Building solid friendships. You were put here to save people, yes, but not in the way that it feels like you're practicing right now. And that comes from the trauma that you experienced with your horror story. Because you had to save your family, and you didn't have to, but you felt like if I don't save my family, then who else is going to? And that same mentality is here right now. If I don't save them, who else is going to save them? Is it terrible, pile 3? Is it really so terrible to leave them to their own devices? Right? There's like this confusion of your feelings and your will. It's like, I know I'm here to help people. I know I'm here to save people, but not like this. That's what they're saying. That's what Source is saying. To overcome your horror story, you have to embrace that, yes, I am here to heal people, but not at the cost of me. Never once did Source create you to be put in these weird, complex situations where people only care what advice you give to them, only care how you heal them, only care how you take care of them. It wouldn't be surprised to me if many people called you the mother or the father. You know, like if you have kids and they have friends, then you're known as mom, or you're known as dad to their friends, or where everyone's like, you're like the work mother or the work father, or you're like the life father and the life mother, you know, whatever it is. It would not surprise me. And you may have Cancer in Venus, and you may have Cancer in its home in the moon. You may be Cancer sun. We have Cancer energy very strong. Very strong. Look, I cannot make this up. I had to look. It was just like I couldn't. We have house 4 flipping out again. Cultural and family roots. Right? Home, peace, and comfort. This is what's comfortable for you, and to move away from that is very discomfort. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to move away. I only know this. I want to stay here. That's what I'm used to. But you also know that you deserve better. And in order to receive better, you have to do something that at one point you were unwilling to do. Look, this flipped over. Scorpio energy. We have house 8. Transformation, karma, facing fears, and legacies. You're here for a legacy. You're going to touch many lives. 28, which is 10. Your path of purpose. You're meant to touch many lives. Wow, is that really... Are you going to focus? Wow, I did not realize that was so out of focus. My apologies. Will it go back? I don't know why that's being like that today. Alright. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. You're meant to touch a lot of people's lives, but you have to come back to your focus. I understand now. Oh, thank you, Source. I got it. You have to focus your energy on something that's conducive for your journey. Radically change. Look, on the bottom of the deck, Uranus energy with radically change. Okay, like this is something that Source is trying to show you and trying to help you with, and they don't want you to change how big your heart is. That's something that's absolutely beautiful. That's something that you're meant to have. That's something that, a way that you're meant to be. What Source wants you to do is change how you give to people, and especially to the people who don't care about you. Okay, this is, I don't know. This is a cycle for you. With hair, we have hair and cycles. This is something that you're meant to let go of. This is something that when you let go of, you're going to feel renewed, rebirth, right? This is with a star. It's either a star or a Stara, but she's the goddess of spring, okay? And that's what it's saying. It's like you're going to feel that renewal, that rebirth. What else would you like to say here, Source? Thank you. Ground yourself. Yeah, it's time for you to ground yourself in your energy. It's time for you to know where you begin and where you end. Instead of taking on everybody else's energy, right? That's the picture that's on the back of the deck here. Instead of you taking on everyone else's energy and saying, oh, that's mine, that must be how I feel, right? But this card also talks about as below, so above, as within, so without. So it's like, if you're seeking everyone else's approval, what does that mean internally? Are you approving of yourself? Because when we approve of ourselves, we don't need anyone else's approval. We see how incredible we are. We can lay in that energy and know, like, this is my truth. Like, I'm an amazing being. I don't need someone to validate me. I don't need someone to say, you did a good job, because I know I did a good job, right? And it's much easier said than done, but it's so worth doing the work. It is so worth doing the work, pile 3. Okay, well, that was fast. Thank you, Source. Think on your feet. Right? Bring this situation to a close. With 27, we have 9 in numerology. Think on your feet. Foxes are also the tricksters in the Native American... No, it's coyotes. I was thinking of coyotes, but I was thinking about... foxes sometimes can appear as tricksters, right? They're very cunning. They're clever. They're strategic. They're very strategic. So this is going to be something that you have to take a strategy on and really take it step by step. It's not something you're going to heal in one go. What's peeking out here? Is that one right there? Look. No. What is that? Oh, I'm so glad I said that, because Coyote was peeking. Trust in divine detours. Coyotes are known as the tricksters in the Native American belief system, right? Like, they're the tricksters, they're shapeshifters. Like, they get you to do things that they want you to do. And that's what you've been dealing with a lot, is people who want you to do what you want to do. But life is a mystery. You get to choose the way that you show up. You get to choose the way that you come into this. You don't have to do it the way everyone else expects you to do it. That's their way. That's the old way, right? You have such a bright light inside. Stop dimming it. Yes. Sorry, I'm so excited about this right now, because Source is just like, the energy is so clear. It's exactly like this card. It is like just bursting out. You have such an amazing light, and that's why I get so emotional on this reading. Like, well, I guess I should say on this reading I got so emotional, is because it's like you're not seeing how amazing you really are. Look, never forget how resilient you are. You always bounce back. And you do, but this is also coming with the message of, just because you bounce back from everybody else's BS doesn't mean that your job is to deal with everyone else's BS, okay? Clear your mental and physical clutter. You will feel so much better. Yes, 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 yes. Clear out your mind. See clearly. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Time for you to see these obstacles and to know that you can move around them, right? Like, you don't have to let them be the determining factor of you. Like, you don't have to let everybody else's problems be the determining factor of what you do with your energy, or how you spend your time, or how you choose yourself. Because that's what it's been feeling like. I feel like they want one more of these. What else would you like to say here, Source? Ending. Yeah. Guilty. There's lying or cheating going on, maybe both. It may take a confrontation to come clean. Let's see if I can move this over just there. Guilty. And then we had ending flip over. You're pretending that it's not ending, but it's time to let go and make a fresh start. This is something that's been happening for a while. Like transformation, karma, facing fears, death, right? Ending. Something is, it just can't be anymore. It can't be like this anymore. And you've known that for a while, but it's just been, it's okay that it's difficult, right? It's okay. Change isn't comfortable. Change isn't meant to be comfortable, and that's what's been really difficult. It's like, it's just not comfortable. Like, I don't know how to be different than what I've been doing this whole time. How do I help people when I've been helping people the only way I know how? Time to get creative. This came out in another pile. Your children on earth and in heaven are happy and well cared for by God and the angels. So again, if you are using your kids as an excuse not to take care of yourself, like this is Source saying, like, don't use your kids as an excuse. Okay, like we're watching over them, we're protecting. I mean, obviously don't shirk your duties, but they're saying here that like you can also take a half hour a day to yourself, right? You can take time to yourself. I also feel like this is a confirmation that this feels like something that happened when you were a very young child. Like you could have been way too young to even understand what it was to be an adult, and just still, like without hesitation and without any pushback, stepped into that role flawlessly. And so getting away from that, see if it's something that happened when you were a kid, look at how that would just impact your life now. It's just something that you do without thinking twice about. So it's like when this stuff happens, you're probably just not even thinking about it. You just act without thinking. And that's what our emotional ego creates in our lives. And so this is about being aware of the actions that you're taking in every moment. Look, grounding yourself. Again, we have grounding. Grounding twice. It's so important for you to get grounded, right? Armadillo with groundedness. And number 7, right? Change what it is that you're doing so you can bring in luck. But it's when you get grounded in your energy and understand where you begin and where you end, right? And where another begins and where another ends, where your energies meet and where you're separate, then you'll be okay, and you'll know that like this is not my problem to take on. You could be a very acute empath, and that's why you feel like everything is yours to take on. Look, didn't I say it's time to get creative? We have dream time with creation, and this talks about, this is an old ancestral belief with the Aborigines where their ancestors sang all of creation into existence, and it's a belief that they have, and it's very powerful. But it's like you get to create your existence the way that you want to. You don't have to keep living in this way. And it's interesting because he's standing in tree pose. This is a yogic pose called tree pose with his leg up here. And so we have tree grounding. So again, digging your roots deep into your creative being. We also see a wide open third eye up here, right? So you could absolutely have Cancerian energy, very highly aspect in your chart. You could have Pisces energy as well, very highly aspect in your chart. This is saying that you have an opportunity. You don't have to live by the shadows. You don't have to live by what other people are telling you or making you feel. You know, especially if you're an empath, people pick up on that real quick. Like, hey, you actually get where I'm coming from, so I'm going to put everything that I have on you because you seem to know me better than anyone else does. Well, it's just because you feel their energy. But that also doesn't mean that you have the responsibility of carrying it. Magic works through you. Yeah, you're meant to heal. You are a healer by nature. Like, that's just in your blood. Like, you can't change that about yourself, and you wouldn't want to either. That's what brings you peace. That's why you feel so good after you help solve somebody's problems. But remember, it's not your job to do everything for everyone else. It's your job to embrace being a healer and what that means to you while still being able to take care of yourself. Conquest. Just another notch in the headboard or the real deal. Actions speak the loudest. This is something you have to take action towards. Because right now, it's like everybody's making tally marks of every time you come pile 3. Oh, pile 3 came this time. Pile 3 came this time. Pile 3 came this time. You've got 30 marks with 20 people. And every time something goes wrong, they call you because they know that you'll come running. You'll drop everything and come running. So, say no. What would it mean for you to say no? And I feel the resistance. It's like, I can't say no. Like, I have to heal people. It's like, yeah, but you can say no to save yourself so that you can heal people in a healthy way. Right? What would you tell your best friend in this situation? I keep hearing, what would you tell your best friend if they came to you with this? See, and that's hard. Like, if you're your own best friend, what would you tell yourself? That's what we have to figure out here, because it's like you're in this energy of just like, well, I would solve the problem for them. So how do you solve the problem for yourself? By taking care of yourself. But see, I already feel the resistance there. It's like, I can't take care of myself. I don't have any time. They're saying, yes, you do. You have to make time. You have to make space. That's an illusion, not having time. That's an illusion. That's why I'm saying it's that one more energy. Oh, just one more thing. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Caressa, you are at the end of a cycle in your life. Call upon your angels to comfort you and guide you to your next step. Happiness awaits you now. So this is ending, right? A cycle. We had that on the bottom with cycles and hair. So you got a lot of confirmations in your reading here, pile 3. Things are coming to an end for you here. It's not something you have to continue to carry on, but they do want you to focus back on healing yourself, okay? You actually saying no to people is healing, because you are carrying that. That's your horror story from when you were little, is that you weren't able to say no because you didn't have that capacity when you were young. You just did what was asked of you or what was needed of you. You fit the role. You fit it perfectly. And that's not wrong or terrible or bad. You did what you felt you needed to do, and that was right for you in that time. But now things are shifting and it's time for you to take care of yourself. So let's take a look at what your card is, and I'll let you see the insignia too. Look, we have Luna. Oh, with the moon. With the moon came out. Okay, so we have a lot of Cancerian and Pisces energy coming in here. Okay, so you could be a water sign. You don't have to be. All right. You could have your 4th house in a water sign. But look, this is all about your emotions, how you feel about others and taking care of others. Like, you don't want others to suffer because you know what it is to suffer. Here's the insignia if you'd like to copy that down and carry it with you as a reminder of this reading. Look, and I can't make this up. The first line, okay, says this card represents the freedom of desire and the illuminated path of moonlit dreams. And underneath the card that I pulled, where was it? Which one? Armadillo. Which one did I pull out? Oh, right here. Cycles. I pulled out cycles. And freedom is underneath that. So this is you and dream time. About dream. Oh my gosh. I love this already. All these synchronicities are insane. I don't know if I can keep up with them all. So it says, this card represents the freedom of desire and the illuminated path of moonlit dreams. The night can bring comfort to let your imagination fly and show your wild side. In the dark, our subconscious can bring to the surface vivid clues of a hidden situation. You can achieve your goals and desires if you pay close attention to the limitations of logic and reason. This card can also represent prophetic dreams and the unrealized wild side that calls upon you. And your affirmation is actually, and so it will be. And I apologize for the camera shaking. My dog is running up and down in the window. And so this is you creating a new dream for yourself, a new life. You want to heal people. It's in your soul. Absolutely. If that's your desire. But what is it going to take for you to do it in a way that benefits you as well as benefits others, but not at the cost of your health, not at the cost of your well-being, not at the cost of you? Okay? This was an incredible reading, pile number 3. I am giving you a gigantic energetic hug. You are so loved. You are so supported, and you are so protected. If you feel like this is your reading, leave a little moon emoji down below and say, I traverse the dark subconscious emotions that I have so that I can find out about the hidden abilities I possess. Also, if you watched all 3 piles, leave me a purple heart down below. Say I made it. I know what that means. Leave me a thumbs up. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there and get on out of here. I do want to take a quick second, though, to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my guides for coming together to give us this amazing message. And until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.